Hello everyone, this is DieselD199 speaking, and I'm here with Sidekick Jason and EnterprisingEngine93 on Sidekick Jason's channel, so I don't know why I'm introducing this.
You were sitting in the middle.
I'm sitting in the middle. So we are here in Anaheim, California. This is the first time I've been to the United States, and we're at Vidcon, which started... Technically, it started on Wednesday, but the first of the main events happened yesterday. It was a good first day, and we're looking forward to doing more today. But before we leave the Airbnb that we're staying at and go to the Anaheim Convention Center, we thought we'd do a bit of a live stream, talk to you guys, keep you up to date with what's happening, and yeah, anything you want to do. So we're going to just start sharing the live stream link around, and we need to get the chat up, the YouTube chat up, that's for sure. Let's see. Which one is it? Is it this one? Is it that one?
It should be the one that's monetized.
I think it should be the bottom one.
Yeah. Yeah, why did it make duplicates? We didn't even...
Strange, I'm not sure.
It's done that every time I've done a live stream. There's always been at least...
I've never dealt with
I mean, this looks like that it's working. We got 33 watching now. Okay, here we go.
Party time.
We will pause this because, yeah, the internet here is terrible. So, and we'll open up the chat and we'll make that the main thing that we're looking at. I'm just going to retweet whatever. Did you tweet something?
Yeah, I did tweet something.
Okay. Have you met any fans there? Yeah, we have. We've so far met, well, not at Vidcon. Vidcon, we haven't. And we didn't expect to because, you know, obviously the Thomas fandom is quite small. There are a lot of kids who like Thomas and Friends, but they're a little bit young for Vidcon. But is that the smoke alarm beeping still? Yeah, we've got that going for us. So far, we've met, I don't know, I shouldn't be using their names. What are their usernames?
The Tugster Intensifies, the TWR Critic,
Rytron 12,
Mr. MPS 2002.
Yeah. And today we are going to be meeting Miss Oliver and Blossom in a couple of hours. So it's been quite an exciting trip thus far, and later on I'm hoping to meet some of you guys on the East Coast. So
don't even tweet bring back the 2002. It's back. It's actually back. So
I can't believe you guys managed to get 2002 retweets. Did not think that was going to be possible. Yes, I remember you, TTE Fan 1.
Oh, my boy Callentail. Hello.
I think we're all doing well. Weird Thing says, since when do you go to VidCon? I went to the Australian VidCon last year, the one that they had in, I don't know, August or September, and I enjoyed it. I made some friends there, met some other YouTubers. And so this year I decided that I wanted to go to the American one so I could see, you know, the VidCon. And Matt and Jason were also interested in going, and they came here to California. We all met up and went along.
It's really interesting because I usually consider myself a Thomas fan before a YouTuber, and I feel like I've been in that bubble for such a long time. But going to VidCon was really informative, even though I'd say most of it was vlogging and gaming. It was still like really fascinating to see just the broad spectrum, like tutorials, educational videos. I feel like we met and saw a lot of people doing that sort of thing.
The story time animators we met, although we did not meet the odd ones out. Someone asked that.
Funny.
But Jason ran into the Try Guys, right?
Well, one lady from the Try Guys. She's not one of the 4 original ones, but she's someone who they like actually publishes content of her own on there. Like they record her and stuff. So she's pretty famous.
TTA Fan 1. I'll get around to that. I wanted to actually watch the first remake that you did. And I just haven't had a chance at the moment. But I have got your message on Twitter. I will do that soon. The fandom equivalent. Which one of us is which, though? Which one's Iron Man? Which one's Thor? Which one's Captain America? I mean, I definitely can't be Captain America. That would just be ironic.
I'd like to be Thor because I have the beard.
Okay, I'll be Captain America.
Okay, I'll be.
Well, you're the best with technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been excited for VidCon, and it's an interesting event, and it's an interesting atmosphere. So it's been really enjoyable. Where in the East Coast are you going? You know, here and there.
Places. Here, there, and everywhere.
Some of the important ones.
See, Ralph Cameron, do you plan on making it a custom derrick? I already have a custom derrick, actually, and there should be some remakes. Well, I guess I think there's only one remake because it actually double teething troubles, obviously. So you should be able to see that eventually on my channel. I know that's scheduled.
Oh, my favorite question. When's the next part of Self-Fulfilling Prophecy coming out? EnterprisingEngine93.
Who would have expected that question?
Well, weird things. Expect some weird things, but I honestly have no idea, and I probably won't get any closer to figuring that out over the next 2 weeks. But then after that, I think you guys are due for an update video. But I've been working on it, and it's going to be pretty goofy.
TT Fan 1, would you ever voice act for me again in the future? Maybe. I try to avoid accepting too many voice acting roles because it just slows down work on my own stuff.
You're not as good as Matt.
No, I'm not.
But your reasoning is something I should think about.
The fans out there don't want to hear that. I certainly don't have the voice acting credits that EnterprisingEngine93 does.
Matt, if that was on your resume, it would be quite the list.
Someone should make Matt an IMDb and put in every single Thomas video that he's.
Well, hasn't it already been recorded in like your wiki page or something?
Probably has, yeah.
Oh, it's not updated, but there was a point where they did that, but that was before I had 570 collaborations in my collaborations playlist.
That's so funny. That's impressive that you kept track of that and like kept adding them to it.
There's probably a bunch that I forgot to put in there, but I did that so I would remember. Mm-hmm. And that I've changed it too, so it goes to newest first. It's not just like Have Pariah and stuff, so that way people see as it's updated.
That makes sense.
Let's see. Weird things. Yes, you can audition. There is an ensemble truck role that I made for everyone because there's a lot of troublesome trucks in it. So maybe I can post that on my community page so people can check that out.
Oh, thank you, Trainboy53 Productions. I appreciate it. Also, TT Fan 1, we don't know when the TCC is coming back.
Or if.
Or if. That's definitely... if you have any questions, it's best to get that out the way now. Yeah, TCC, we don't know, basically. The Caledonian Engines asks, DieselD199, how long does it take to animate a short? And it depends. The last short, I think, if I didn't include the time I spent modeling the new characters, probably took around about a month to do. The Halloween short, at like the Magic Railroad Mayhem from last year, took a long time, months. But then the Halloween short took like 3 weeks. So
what do you think takes up more time? Like if the short is longer or if it has more action in it? Like if it's shorter but has more action.
Well, funnily, the longest short that I've done was The Tedious Tale of Timothy. And that took 1 month to make.
Oh, okay.
So, because I think October 1st is when Unstoppable came out, and then that would have come out on Halloween.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it depends on, like, if there's anything different in the short, anything complex to do. So, like, the last short took a little bit longer because the whole anime-esque charging sequence thing was something that I hadn't done before, so it requires more experimentation and all that sort of stuff. Tedious Tale of Timothy was very simple. I mean, most of it was just Timothy puffing along the main line. The hardest shot in it to do was just him falling off the viaduct, and that wasn't all that difficult.
And back then, too, you hadn't automated a lot of things either. So that's probably, it would have been a lot faster nowadays.
Well, I mean, back then a lot of the stuff that I automated was like to do with setting up various trains. So like, and there was only one in there, which was Timothy and his train, basically.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't think I'll be able to go to Boston this time, Wooden Railway, Edward. Do you think Thomas Wood is different than Thomas Wooden Railway? I mean, yeah, it's obviously different.
I think so. Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Besides the aesthetic things, the wheels are more hollow on the inside and they're lighter. And Wooden Railway, I guess I'm just used to the consistency of it, because when you pull Thomas Wood, it goes like boom.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some getting used to. They're definitely lighter.
Well, and like looking at it like in images and stuff, like it looks disproportionate. Like the wheels look bigger, but it's actually that the body is smaller and the wheels are roughly the same size of the Thomas Wooden Railway line.
Useful engine. Yeah, we're all excited to see the Thomas and the Magic Railroad parody. I think we're all in it in some capacity.
Yeah, we've all helped in some way.
Yeah, I did one line for it, so
yeah, that'll be fun.
Did Mattel give you guys more freedom in the beginning of the TCC? It's best if we avoid talking about it. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of leeway with respect to the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And it's old news. It's old news.
Yeah,
it's really old news. Can we just move on?
If you really are fascinated, you can go watch my Q&A on my UK channel where I talk about it. Because I mean, you guys are, I think, still technically employed or whatnot through it. So like, you have NDAs and whatnot that prevent you from talking. But
no, I don't know. We're still technically employed by it. But, I don't know what the situation is.
But yeah, I mean, I answer most general questions as best as I can as a former employee in those. So, I mean, if people really are curious, they can go watch those.
Do I like voice acting Percy? I actually never voiced Percy until the TCC, but people have cast me as him in projects since. And in the TCC, they always want me to go lighter, but I do like just doing like a slightly inflected version of my natural voice and doing it. So, but I'm usually Edward, funnily enough, even though I don't think I sound that old. But
what character do you think you fit best? Like if you got your dream casting role in a production, which Thomas character would it be?
I really think I could be Arthur.
Yeah.
I think that it would work because I wouldn't want him to sound too nerdy.
Who needs an OC? Matt's just got Arthur.
How about of the ones in CGI right now? Like if they called you up and were like, "Hey Matt, who do you want to voice?" Like,
well, I guess maybe someone like Ryan.
Yeah.
Like I think we're so used to his high-pitched voice, but since I'm so easily beguiled, I feel like you could do a Ryan and Daisy story and my voice would fit this.
Yeah. Can you do a Ryan? Would you do a Ryan impression of it, or would you just do your own thing with it?
I think it would be my own. Like, hello, my name is Ryan. Like it just sounds like you're stressed out. Trying to do the voice.
Like any Raymond was wasted on that role.
They should have just made him sound like himself.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
What's the point of having a celebrity cameo if you make them sound like every other cartoon character ever?
And you can't recognize them. Like, yeah.
I think maybe they decided that they wanted to keep Ryan later on. So they made a generic cartoon voice so that someone could do an impression of it.
That was probably it. They didn't do that with Marion or Merlin, though. They casted it really well and they did the voices justice.
Yeah.
I don't think I will consider going back to the models, at least not permanently. I might do a video here and there with them, but I can't at the moment anyway because I moved last year and I don't have access to most of my stuff.
See, am I planning on getting Play Rover Rebecca? Yes, I think I actually already ordered one.
Yeah, I got to get around to doing that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if, because I may customize her. Like, I mean, I bought her one. I like the tanker and her like basis is really nice. So I think that might be a fun custom.
Is there something special about the tanker?
No, it's just a green tanker. Like it looks more industrial than a lot of rolling stock that they have now. So it felt more worth it to buy it. But
what about the Nia and Thomas pack?
That one, like why I bought it? Or,
do you have it?
Yeah, I do have it. Yeah, I did an unboxing video on it and whatnot. So
I think I remember this.
Yeah. And that was I mean, besides Nia, like an ace, I mean, everything else in that pack was like awesome, unique stuff. So, I mean, and I have other plans for Nia and Ace. So,
oh yeah.
Oh, do you know, is Ace bigger in play rail than he is in
Trackmaster?
I think he's smaller, but since he's like an actual die-cast engine, and he's a lot more detailed. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, because people have done comparison images, and I think the Trackmaster one is like wider.
DieselD199 is not shorter than Matt. I'm just
he's not
slouched.
But I could do a better job posing in pictures. I need to stop crouching.
And why is that like your go-to thing? Like,
I usually just assume it's
like a big enough group or something.
It's accommodating. Like, oh, there's going to be a row behind me, so I just assume if I crouch, more people can fit in the photo. Yeah. But there's times where there's only one row. Why am I doing that?
Yeah, I mean, see, I should be the one crouching because it's like I'm the one that's too tall, so I need to like get down and join everyone else.
We had a good selfie yesterday where we were posed correctly. I was very proud of the blocking.
All right, Trent, how do you change your voices?
With practice, I suppose.
Do you record each individual character for the short?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
so
then you splice together.
All of Thomas's lines. I never used to do that, actually. That was something I started doing prior to the TCC. I'm not sure when exactly I changed it. I think it may have been around about, it probably was about 2013, which is like almost 6 years ago, gosh. But it was not the way I used to do it. But certainly now, it's just easier to maintain the voice for the longest period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hi, Sam Herbert.
Yes, I remember you, Zach.
Ted asked if there's anyone in the community shorter than me. Yes, I've met many 12-year-olds at train shows. But yeah, there are. But, you know, you wouldn't know because I keep crouching in photos.
Matt isn't even that short, and Jason is shorter than I expected him to be. So,
oh, thanks. I am 6'4", so
I keep meeting up with tall people. That's the other problem.
When you hang around them too much, like not that, like I mean, you find them and you stick with them. So.
Spaghetti? Yeah, I'd love some. Are you gonna mail it?
Someone asked about season 23. Should we talk about like maybe our first impression?
I mean, I think this is a good question. If you could get rid of any Thomas character, which one would you get rid of? Jace the Base 16 asked that.
That's a good question.
Like, does it have to be from a particular era or like from the entire series? Because I mean, knock off Ferdinand or something. Like, I mean, there's some obvious choices.
What characters that are were in the last season? I guess the last couple of seasons would you get rid of together?
Nia.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Rebecca a lot more. So,
Sir Loham hat.
Oh my gosh.
That's just so weird that exists. And I wish they took that idea, but it was a person in disguise making a false identity.
Yeah, like the story that I wrote. Yeah.
Then suddenly
like
he has a twin brother. Like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh.
Top and low. Like, that was just so ridiculous.
Matt, what do you think about Nia?
I have warmed to Rebecca, but I don't think they've given Nia enough time yet. I think they thought the movie was her big debut, and that's why she didn't get as much in season 22 to establish her. But I'm not fully sold on her. I'm willing to be sold.
She's not established on Sodor. That's like her issue.
Yeah, so maybe in 23 there'll be more for her, but I'm not completely settled with her yet.
Yeah. I mean, I thought her role in the movie was good, and I actually liked her as a character more than I thought I would. But like her involvement in the actual TV series, I don't think has been up to par, I guess.
Because if you take Edward and Henry out of Tidmouth Sheds, you'd think they'd be substituted with characters that would have a new, fun dynamic with each of the characters that live there.
Yeah,
exactly. And Rebecca doesn't have that.
Rebecca admittedly has that. Like, she actually has some personality to her and like a character flaw. Nia's just...
they won't give her a flaw.
I mean, they gave her the flaw where she couldn't read numbers or something like that. But okay, that's now been subsequently corrected.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really a character flaw. That was just a learning difficulty.
Yeah.
So it's and there's just too much of that in the show, of just these perfect characters that don't really have anything to them. Like, Frankie and Hurricane are better characters than Nia.
Yeah.
Like, and they were in one special, but like they actually had somewhat of a story to them and a personality. But and Rebecca has, to some extent, a decently well fleshed out personality.
Yeah.
But then again, a lot of the traditional cast, like Percy, Henry, and Toby, basically all became the same character.
Yeah.
So, it seems to be that there's a difficulty that they need to work out with having strong characters that are consistent, at least within the main cast.
It seems like they're either one-dimensional or they just skip over.
Well, what's the difference between Emily and Mia?
Yeah.
There really isn't any.
Yeah.
And Emily, when she started out, she was a little different than when she was in the hit era. And then the CGI era diluted her.
Didn't she used to be bossy at some point? That was kind of like her personality thing. But
and people were complaining about that. But I mean, like Emily being like that big sister that's always like kind of mean to you and bossy, like that's fine. That's a great character. And, like she is a really old engine if you could go off her basis. Like she's older than the rest of the main cast, I think. So it would be totally appropriate.
Maybe it would have helped to have Molly pushed up more to counterbalance like how assertive Emily was, because if you're a little boy watching Thomas, then you would relate to a big sister telling you what to do. And at the time, it was mostly geared to little boys. And I guess that's what they were thinking about when they did it.
I think Emily's best role would have been in season 19, Best Engine Ever. Like, I think that was a good use of her.
I love that episode. Yeah. That was great. They should do more with Emily and Caitlin. That was really nice.
Well, I mean, if they're pushing female characters, like, do more with Caitlin. Like,
Caitlin's great. I like Caitlin.
See, I'd happily delete Connor and Caitlin because they look so out of place on Sodor.
They do.
Like I've never been comfortable with them being characters. Like and I mean, this has increasingly been the case. Like for the longest period of time, we had like an established style for all the characters on Sodor. And it's like now they all have, red foot plates and, smokestacks that aren't black and all this sort of weird patterns and designs to them. Like we had a style guide for the creation of characters, and it was pretty well stuck to. I think like Emily was one of the few exceptions initially with the black foot plate. I think we'd need to give our e-souls to Trent to ever see a Tomica movie. It's not totally out of the question, but it would never be released as a single movie. It would be released as I could imagine a scenario in which I did maybe like 40 minutes, a 40-minute like story released in 5-minute shorts or something to that effect. But yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be like a single 90-minute video released at some point. I'm going to avoid doing Peter Sam's voice.
I think you do a good job.
Yeah, I bet people in Wales disagree, though. Like, what the heck is this?
That song has been stuck in my head this entire trip, and it's just hilarious to be with the people who made that. So
I appreciate you didn't complain. I did hear the sigh from beyond the keyboard, but you still did it.
Well, you never know with Mac. You always get some interesting stuff. Like I agreed to do Gordon in a German version, and I thought, well, I speak enough German to at least voice a character in a Thomas and Friends video. But of course, I wasn't thinking that this is Matt, and whatever the dialogue is going to actually be quite complicated. So when I got the translation back, I was like, I don't even know half these words, and I've got to try and figure out how to say it.
That was one of the few parts I had rewritten, because in the book, Gordon doesn't say anything. Please don't sing it. If you sing Break My Stride, YouTube will hit us with a copyright strike.
The detection algorithm would have to be pretty advanced to pick that up. Well, I don't even sing it in tune. So
what's funny is from the wedding live stream, actually, me playing the trumpet in the background got hit with a copyright claim. So
what did you play in the
Over the Rainbow?
Oh,
yeah. I was like, wow. Well,
okay.
I mean, at least I was that good enough. The algorithm found it.
That's strange.
Oh,
well, thank you, Soto Fan 2K10. I appreciate you saying that.
He's so nice.
Yeah, the trip to VidCon has been good so far. We've got today and tomorrow will be full days of events as well. So
yeah. Should we talk a little bit about what we've done, maybe? Like maybe what our favorite parts have been?
Yeah. Okay.
So you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So one of the things we did, there was a booth in the creator section that had a free YouTube audit. It was for one of the companies there that was trying to obviously sell some sort of platform or whatnot. So we
vidIQ.
vidIQ, yeah. And so we decided to I signed up for a time slot, so we went and did it. And it was really cool talking with the guy, because the guy clearly he knew his stuff, and he grilled me on questions like, have you tried this with your channel? Have you tried that? Have you done it this way, that way? Well, like asking me like very thorough, like getting really into the details about like how I've been growing my channel and whatnot. And so, I mean, that was a lot of fun. It was cool to feel like, hey, like I have done basically everything I can to grow my channel. I've done everything the experts recommend. So yeah, that was a fun experience. So yeah, I mean, that was my favorite part so far.
Yeah, what about you, Matt? Because you also did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned a really good thumbnail tip. And that is that the thumbnail should be a tease or pose a question. If it's just a train on a track smiling, it doesn't have there's no expectations behind that. You just, what you see is what you get. But if it's like an engine halfway on the track looking confused, or if it's, an engine looking up surprised.
The valuable advice you would.
Oh, okay. Well,
you pay how much for that? No.
I just thought it was interesting. Like, I would go into my videos differently, saying, oh, what would the thumbnail be? What would be tasteful and interesting that would pose a question? I thought that was very good advice.
Yeah. I'll be very curious to see what you do going forward with that. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Sky Kid 61 Productions 2015.
Pose.
He said, Trent, you should do a short called Blast to the Past where they switch back to the Tommy engines for one short only. Certainly, I think if I did do something with the toys, it would have to be like some sort of meta commentary or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shipping was difficult for the TCC. I had to mail things to this place or that place.
When I heard shipping, I thought of like fandom people shipping characters. I was like, it's the last thing you want to do is ship people in the TCC. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you corrected that.
Well, it also could have been shipping between the people working on it. And I have to say the pool is limited. There's not a lot of romance going on in that environment.
Thank heavens.
I do have the Thomas Wood Nia with paint. But in terms of Rebecca, I would like a custom that has 8 wheels. I would just prefer to have bogies on her. But
have you commissioned someone, or is something in the works, I guess?
I have one, but we got very ambitious, and it has like the accurate number of wheels. And because of that, it looks stunning. It's so amazing. But
it stands out.
The issue is curves, and it really stands out. So I think I used it for the CSC. So if you look out the Classic Series creations, if Rebecca makes an appearance, you'll see that. But in terms of me, I think I would prefer to have the 8-wheeled. So I have to look into that.
Yeah.
But TWR Critics Rebecca was stunning.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so maybe I'll reach out to him if he's willing, because he did a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Robert's right. It doesn't move. The wheels don't always turn. That's
And what is it like the Thomas Wood version just has 3 wheels?
Yeah, just 3 wheels and a cube.
Size of Thomas.
Right, of course, because they got rid of all the bogey type style.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Yeah, very cubular tender. All the tenders are uniform. I mean, if you're talking about Thomas and Ashima, maybe there was some implied romance. But if you're talking about the crew members, I don't think there was any romance unless there's a People magazine of scandals worth that I'm not even aware of.
I mean, my wife helped me film at times. Well, I guess she wasn't my wife back then. So, I mean, that's probably the most romance that happened in the TCC.
That was the most, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. Okay. Because I started dating her like 3 months before the TCC started. And then so like, it's just funny. So she's like been with me through this whole journey and whatnot. Because when we first started dating, Thomas like had very little to do with my life, like at all. Because I mean, I was at school and whatnot, very busy with classes and everything. And so it's like, I mean, I had to like apologize to her so many times where it's like, Thomas has never consumed my life before like this. Like, this is weird for me too. Don't think that I'm just like overly obsessed with this.
Oh yeah, I would use the Rebecca face from the wood model, but I also have the push along face. So and they look slightly different, so I could swap between the two if I wanted.
Yeah.
It's only taken them 4 years. Well, I mean, even longer than that, because we would have been working together on the TTE community channel back in 2013, so 6 years ago.
Taking 4 years for what?
Us to get together.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
You're
coming halfway around the world, so
yeah, I had a like nearly 13-hour flight in order to get here.
Yeah.
So, and this is the first time I've met Jason in real life, though it doesn't feel like it. So
yeah. Well, in our experience at the airport, where I was parked in the wrong spot, and it was like, "Hurry up!" and you just like jumped in my car. We booked it out. Yeah. So.
Trent was my first meetup in the fandom, as ridiculous as that sounds.
My first meetup, as well.
But you two are the first people I Skyped with in the fandom.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Well, back in the day, with the community channel and stuff, like you guys were the only ones that I really talked with, and Percy Engine, like that was basically the community for me up until the TCC. So
this is a very full circle event.
It really is.
Meetup was really cool.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the exact timeline of the events, but outside of the UK, I think it kickstarted a lot of the meetups. I mean, certainly, if I'm the first one for you and you've met up with basically everyone, like 41 people last year or something like that. So.
No, it's amazing. Like, we should always be careful meeting strangers online, but it's been really cool how meetups have just become so much more common, and every train show, people try to get together. So be careful, but
meet
it's
up
been
in a
really
public
nice.
place. Take your parents with you if necessary.
Yeah, if you're under 18, definitely have your parents with you.
I don't mind meeting your parents as well.
Yeah.
When I go to train shows and a parent comes up, I love shaking their hand and talking about what the community is like, because we've talked to some people and their parents have been skeptical about what the community is all about, but they meet us and they meet other people, and it's a lot. Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier to understand.
I think the weirdness of it also disperses after once there's a face to it, you like actually have real communication. So, okay. So people have kept asking about when I'm going to, like, what's going on with the prizes for the 100,000 subs giveaway. So, I've been meaning to work on that. That's been like on my giant list of things to do. And so, I mean, shipping out 28 items is a little much to do all at once. I mean, it's taking a little bit, but we'll get there. I mean,
28 items.
Yeah, that's how many.
Jeez, you're generous.
I am very generous. So I thought it would be fun. So, I mean, that's why I didn't put a specific date in the video or anything, because it was like, I was busy with school. I knew I'd have an internship this summer. And so it was like, I don't know when I would get around to it. I mean, eventually I obviously will. So, yeah. I mean, you can ask all the people from the previous giveaways that they have definitely gotten their items. So,
yeah, one of the reasons I've never done it is because I was told many years ago that you need to have like a written terms and conditions to do any kind of competition or giveaway on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Like, according to their terms of service. Obviously, I don't think it's really enforced unless there's some controversy about it. But yeah. Spectacular. I'm like, OMG, now I really wish I was at VidCon. Yeah, well, anyone can go to VidCon. And certainly, I don't know if we'll be doing it next year here in the United States, but if we are planning on doing it, maybe we'll we'll let you guys know a little earlier.
Yeah.
This year we really I mean, for me, this is my first time in the United States. It's only the second time I've ever been out of the country, and the last time was 8 years ago. So we wanted to keep it, on the down low. But I think if you get an early bird ticket for like the community track, it's like 100 US. So
was it 100? I thought it was 200.
Yeah. No, it's only about 100. I think it's like 150 now because it's like on the day. But yeah,
interesting. But I mean, for those who are wanting to like go for the creator mindset, that they're like, oh, I want to go to VidCon and like learn all these new techniques and things. Like, I mean, focus on doing your own research first and whatnot. Like, you'll get a lot more out of it. So, I mean, the info sessions haven't been like super enlightening to us.
They haven't been for us, but I think there are quite a few. I think for a lot of the guys who have smaller channels who maybe want to build them, then I think you should consider a creator pass and go along to those sessions. But the biggest advice that I would have for you is bring a friend.
Yeah,
because
that would get lonely.
Yeah, it'll get lonely. You can make friends at VidCon, obviously, but it's always more comfortable for you if you have someone to fall back on.
Well, it's been fun having you introduce us to other people, because I mean, it's just been kind of the three of us the whole time we've been there, except for those who you have previously met and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think there is a VidCon in San Antonio. I think that VidCon is in Anaheim, London, and Melbourne, and that's it, to my knowledge. Oh, thoughts on Toy Story 4?
Yeah.
My thought is that it was enjoyable, but I felt like the characters weren't well represented. Buzz was, a doofus basically. Woody, he was always, we need to get back to Andy, and we're Andy's toys, and if Andy wants us to be in the attic, then that's where we need to be for him. But, and then, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I didn't feel that his actions were in keeping with his character. It was an enjoyable movie, but, the original three rounded the story off beautifully. You couldn't have asked for anything more than that. And I think if they wanted to do more Toy Story, then, they should have just done a spin-off. They could have done it in the same universe, just with different characters.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, it's Pixar. I'm sure they could have done a good job of it, and they could have told perhaps even a more relevant story about the era that toys live in now. Where they're not what they used to be, and kids would rather play on their iPad or their console. I think that there were plenty of good stories to tell about toys, and instead they kept it safe, and just decided to cash in on that nostalgia money.
Yeah.
I did not bring any Thomas items to the USA Trainmaster 16. Unfortunately, we do have sidekick Jason's newest Thomas here. I would have brought my Tommi Thomas, but I mean, originally I thought I did bring it with me when I moved. But I went and looked through the ones, because I have a whole bunch of trains with me so that I can use them as reference in order to model them. But no, I didn't have it. So unfortunately, I couldn't bring it with me. It's back home. It's with Mom and Dad.
Oh, Annie C's here.
Yo, Annie.
Hello.
JPLNER.
Jolly Good Idea Films asked a good question. He said, do you have any writing tips as far as organizing your thoughts? I actually like to speak out loud. I find that helps me organize my thoughts quite a bit better than just thinking it over in my mind. And with doing, these videos in particular, I'll try and improvise the basics of it, what the characters are saying, out loud first as I get some of the ideas flowing, and then I'll sit down and start writing things. And I might do just some dot points, which is always super helpful. especially if you're doing something really long, you know, you just do dot points, this happens, and this happens, maybe this character says this. And that's really easy to, you know, delete and, you know, go back and rearrange. But for me, usually with a short, because it's short, I just get straight down to writing. Ah, that's so sweet to hear, Turtles. I'm touched. Thanks, Annie. Yeah, we are. We're having a good time, and we're looking forward to doing more stuff today. Do you think they should bring back Thomas trains, but would they have CGI faces?
I don't think I think there's a market for obviously a type of push along collectible range, but yeah, I don't know if still existed now, I don't know if it would have the same appeal that it did back then. No. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's as competitive.
Certainly it's not.
Yeah, like they need to, and I don't think Adventures or Trackmaster Push Along are competitive either. Like, they need to have something that can stand out from the crowd.
I mean, I don't know why we can't just get a die-cast range where all of the characters are in proportion.
Yeah.
You know, like, yes, it's hard when you have to put in a motor and a battery and all that and assemble it.
But yes, for a push along range, yeah.
You know, it's hard when you have to make the character out of wood. But if it's die-cast metal, I don't know why it is so hard for us to just get characters that are in proportion. I mean, the best stuff that we've ever gotten is that Diapet.
Yeah.
The Japanese Diapet range. And like, is that electric or is it? No, it's just push along. Yeah.
It's S scale. So, but yeah, it's not electric.
I don't know why this is so difficult, but it's just throughout the entire history with all of the different companies that have worked on making Thomas and Friends merch, we just cannot get anything with the proper proportions.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because they're like considering how kids will hold it, and maybe it doesn't work like that, or if it's a shipping issue, like they just have to fit certain constraints in order to be shipped out properly, or what is going on. But but
the packaging, I think, would eliminate a lot of that.
Yeah, well, you'd think so, but all I want is just like characters that have all the right proportions. And look, I understand that, you know, maybe Thomas's wheel arch has to be connected to the body in some extent. Like, you know, you can't have these separate pieces, and you have to consider how it is molded and then painted subsequently. But I don't know, like, I mean, look at Erdl, like, look at how long and stretched out, like, Gordon is or whatever.
Well, and if you look at, like, I feel like, especially with a lot of other toy lines or other toy brands, like Paw Patrol products or even cars, like it's possible. Like, it's totally possible. And they have the means to do it. And that's the thing that's frustrating, is it's just that they purposely choose not to, either because they want it to be better for hands holding it, or because, you know, it's just cheaper and it's easier and faster to design it that way.
I mean, I have to imagine it's something like that, but I don't know why it would be like that.
Because Thomas is not even that complicated of like a shape.
No,
and especially given that, like, the CGI series, like, I mean, they could totally just, you know, like, take the orthos from that and create the toys.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
why?
The reason why the Play-Rail models are this sort of stretched proportional shape is because Play-Rail already had a set wheelbase and loading gauge to work with, right? Yeah. The characters had to be able to fit through those yellow girders, and that wheelbase and loading gauge was designed for diesels and Shinkansen and things like that, and so they are in proportion, roughly speaking. But when it came to characters like Thomas, like, you've got to fit the battery inside as well, otherwise, and the motor, otherwise you'd be able to shorten it and make it look a bit more in proportion.
And I think it was also where their brand was at the time. Like, I mean, it was like 92, I think, was the first one came out. And so they had a different type of motor back then than obviously, like, I mean, if Hit Toys had redesigned Thomas, I could see them doing something a little more proportionate where they kind of shortened him. But like back then, I can see the constraints.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, you know, we had, you know, Trackmaster come along and they redesigned all the track, and eventually they redesigned all the toys, but they never once changed the loading gauge or the gauge or anything like that. I mean,
it should have just been a new whole line.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to imagine a Thomas like this that was maybe a bit more taller so that it was in proportion, because you didn't have to worry about that previous loading gauge anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to do, apparently.
Yeah.
My favorite Thomas merchandise is Wooden Railway, of course, but since I've spent so much time with the Thomas Tank merch guys, the Bandai stuff just blows my mind.
Oh, it's amazing.
The Diesel 10 with the claw.
No, I don't know.
Okay. I mean, because I have some of the road characters, and those have been phenomenal. I mean, they got some serious weight to them. Like, they just feel like sturdy toys. So, yeah. I mean, they're kind of pricey now for people to find, but I mean, if it's worth it, I mean, I definitely would recommend it. So.
When I met Brendan Race 10, I held the Terrence and Trevor. Those are so nice.
Oh, yeah.
They're so nice.
Matt, did you end up getting that custom with the Diesel 10 claw on a wooden?
That's still in the works.
Oh, okay.
He's also the guy that made Rebecca. So it will look really cool. It's difficult though.
Like, oh yeah.
That's a big undertaking. If I can somehow get that, if we can just get Diesel 10 working.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I did not get jet lagged because I did an all-nighter before leaving, and then I slept on the plane, and then I touched down in LA at like 6 a.m, and then we didn't go to sleep till like midnight that night. I have no idea how I was able to keep going for that long.
Trent's been the one waking us up every morning. It's
like,
all right, guys, time to go.
What's that about? I mean, he has an alarm that goes off, but he just switches it off and rolls back up.
So I set 3 alarms. One's 5 minutes apart, and one's 2 minutes apart.
We need short 53. It's all right. I've scripted it. It's going to be on the way.
Is was the last video you released technically a short, or was it like a separate just video of its own?
No, it was a short.
Oh, okay.
It was short 52. Yeah,
oh, okay.
It was. Had the little title at the beginning. I feel that there's room within the shorts to expand on the merchandise that's included. And, I've done Wooden Railway before, but yeah, I also have a Minis Thomas and a Minis Diesel shell that have been made. So I think there's room to do some stuff with that at a later date. Certainly I have written a parody once that did involve a Thomas Mini in a small way, but that hasn't materialized yet. So.
All right, well, if someone asked when season 3 will come out, because that seems to be the question I always get. It's my self-fulfilling prophecy question. So basically the current status is I filmed about 2/3 of it. And so I need to get back to filming before I can obviously edit or anything. And so hopefully, because I graduate in December from college, I should be able to start filming maybe in the next year or so. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things kind of up in the air with life, but then once I can finish filming, then I can start editing, and hopefully after that, but it'll still definitely be a while. So, yeah.
And you see, the coolest part of VidCon so far is Nickelodeon had a display, and the Burger Mobile from Good Burger, the actual Burger Mobile from Good Burger was there, and I got a picture next to it. I got to touch it. So.
Oh, I need to send you that. It's on my phone.
Maybe I might tweet that today. I gotta get that to you. That was pretty fulfilling for me.
Oh, I think what has been the coolest part of VidCon? I think it's yet to come. I think it's still far too early. We've got today, we've got tomorrow, and I'll let you know once it's finished.
Saturday's when they do like the big show, right? Or something like that.
They do a show thing, but I mean, the Australian one was not particularly impressive from what I saw of it, so
yeah.
Robert, I don't know when Nowhere is coming out, but I beg to differ in terms of people not wanting to see crash videos. I'll show you the numbers.
Don't lie.
I'll show you the numbers today. Although if I'm wrong, that would be terrific.
That was the funniest thing talking with that consultant yesterday about like, let me explain the fandom to you. So we have children who watch our channel in huge numbers, but then we also have this select group of older fans who are kind of picky. And so you got to kind of play to both, because also they're the ones who get those initial views that help you in the algorithm and all this stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, but the consultant yesterday, we were having a discussion. He was talking about, I mean, he was looking at every single avenue that I could potentially go. And at one point he was like, didn't Thomas the Tank Engine used to have like a series about tugboats? And I was like, yeah. And so he was like, well, maybe there's something you can do with that. Maybe you could like bring those into your series and this and that. And like, so we started like searching all that. And I like explained to him about like the Star Tugs Trust and like what has happened with tugs and this and that. And so it was really interesting, like of all people to just randomly memorize.
I can't believe that someone ever said that in real life.
It was crazy.
In Anaheim, California.
Anaheim, California. Did it even broadcast in the US? Did it ever make it here?
Only Salty's Lighthouse, which was like a butchered version of it.
Oh, interesting. Because he was searching on YouTube for tugs and he was like scrolling through. He's like, yeah, I remember watching this and stuff. It was just like, oh, that's weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Trent, what was the hardest engine to make in CGI? And that's an easy question to answer. It was DieselD199. It's just the shape of him, you know, curved surfaces with then like windows cut out of it. And that's always very difficult to do. I spent more time on DieselD199 than I did any other character. Like every part of him like slowed me down when I was trying to make him. Like the face was even like, it was an odd shape, and then like he's got a weird thing going on with his brows. Then it was like deciding about how I wanted to do pinchy, and like did I want to like actually make an indent in the head and push it in, or did I just want to keep it on top? And I kept it on top principally because it was easier.
Yeah.
He now breaks the loading gauge, so like he can't go through those yellow girders. So I might have to adjust him if I ever seriously want to do a short at Vickerstown Station.
Does he? But in real life, does he actually?
No, because it's indented.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I think I remember having trouble with him like on my childhood layout going through the yellow girder. That's yeah. Like I just remembered that. Like I think he's certainly he's there at the limit.
Yeah, he's really there at the limit. Like Pinchy would be nearly hitting the upper limit of that.
Hello, Tommy Bauer. And the hardest TCC scene, believe it or not, many were difficult because it's a very action-oriented series. But I will talk about one scene that Jason helped me film. There was going to be a big confrontation where the Flying Scotsman and too many characters are at the bottom of a hill, and they think they're going to get cornered by an army of diesels. Yes, this is what happens. And at the top, they see DieselD199 on top of the hill, and then like almost all the characters join him at the top to charge down and fight the diesels. And this hill is cursed. I can't get anything to work on this hill.
Majestic Hill is not the name of it.
Yeah, it's like, it looked majestic, but the script wanted all the engines to charge down the hill and bump the diesels. But there was no way that we could get all those engines to do it. So I think in the final product, Hero went down and bashed one of them.
Yeah.
And we just made it.
Well, we filmed shots of individual engines going down, but it was like, I mean, it was so risky because we have your valuable collection that we're just like throwing down as if they're just, you know, these toys that we can just do that with.
In my director mind, I was really trying to like, if we could do the Mulan thing, when they all charge at once, how cool would that be? But it was just impossible. And, but, you know, like, it's not like that series was devoid of action. So you got,
it could have been done in CGI though.
Oh my goodness. But yeah.
Yeah, the boss man should have went to you for that.
Except I wouldn't have had any of the characters to do it with.
5 engines go charging.
Well, they're all just duplicates of Thomas. So it's just an army of Thomases like going down.
Oh, that would have been funny, actually.
How funny would that have been if an army of Thomases defeats the army of the Diesels? Like that was the solution to the problem.
Oh yeah,
if we had told our boss that probably would have happened. Oh, no. You could have hit one young Tucker in the crowd.
Yeah, Timothy over in the distance. LDSC Thomas. You could hear the strain in Jason's voice as he was laughing just then.
No, I was actually reading a comment when I...
Thomas and Friends into the Thomas verse. That's
oh my gosh.
Oh, I got the idea for Break My Stride in 2016. I think I was stressed out one morning and I just wrote like 80% of it in that morning, and I tweaked it over time. But I was just kind of pleased with myself because an idea never materializes that quickly. Like it needed some fixing, of course, but the beats were all there, and I was really happy it came to me.
Yeah. Gaming Railfan, what do we need to talk about? There seems to be a lot of urgency with your comments, and I'm a little confused. I don't know, but maybe DM me on Twitter or something. I don't know.
It's fairly easy to make reskins of characters, turtles. It depends on the complexity of, you know, what you want to reskin it with. I mean, to make, say, a Shima, right? You know, with all the wonderful patterns. If I wanted to do, say, a custom James and Emily from the Great Race, that would take some time. That would take a long time to try and replicate all of the patterns on it. But if it's like, oh, I want to invert Thomas's lining so that he's red with blue stripes instead, that would be. You can have your young Tucker in your series, of course. That would be very easy to do. Get that thumbnail, you know, and
get that thumbnail.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a young Tucker episode, a young Tucker parody.
I just want like a scene with Green Thomas, young Tucker, and Timothy, like in your 3-berth shed. That would be
with like Wood Thomas off to the side.
You know what? I can put young Tucker in the background in like a 360-degree video or something like that.
You have my permission.
Oh my gosh.
Someone asked if young Tucker is returning to Enterprising Engines. Not to build the hype too much. He is. He will be in Nowhere. So there you go.
Arian Burt reskins confirmed. Yeah, I mean, basically, with the Class 08 model nearly completed, once I have that, it will be very easy to do the reskinning process for all of the Class 08 characters. You know, Ari Burt, Splatter Dodge, Sydney and Paxton, the various Great Race and other shunters that have been done. Not that they will ever get made, but then it's just a matter of doing the faces. And I mean, the easy thing is well, I've done Diesel already. Ari and Burt have the same face. I just need to adjust the amount of stubble that one of them has. Splatter and Dodge have the same face.
Please make a third twin or make a triplet there that has like a full beard.
So that would be a good idea for a parody. Yeah.
That would be, yeah.
There will probably not be any original characters in the TCC in the future because the rules are very different. I think Return of Diesel was a very strange outlier. Like, I think that was always a rule, and we pushed
the limits and asked for forgiveness rather than permission type of thing. Because it wasn't us, but yeah.
I don't think there were any complaints about
Eric Bartholomew. All right, Trent, we got your latest short idea.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about the announcements today, the Bachmann announcements.
Oh, that's cool.
So they've just been announced. We haven't seen pictures.
They have the concept art for the wagons. Here, I'll show you.
But yeah, Bachmann announced Daisy and Peter Sam today, as well as 3 flatbed trucks with different crates on them, and I think a tanker with a face based on the one from Big World, Big Adventure. So it was really cool.
Okay, so.
But do you want to put it up on the?
I mean, I don't know how good.
It won't be a good resolution.
Nah.
It's pretty exciting. I never thought they'd make Daisy. So I'm really happy they did that.
I think do Stepney first, honestly.
I'm really surprised that they're actually going at it with the narrow gauge engines.
Like they must be selling well.
They've got Scarlotti, they have Rheneas as well.
And Rusty.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the 4th one.
It gets a handle in there, and I mean, you know,
we're in business.
That's all the characters you really could need. Well, you know, it's obviously great if they expand it to Duncan.
The fear, though, is it's probably going to be the ARC version of Duncan. So, that's going to be a shame.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Maybe we can petition like how we did with Paxton's face and be like, no, don't do that.
I mean, at least the, you know, all of the nitrogen characters were taken from the actual
Yeah.
basis. I mean, you couldn't get more accurate than that.
Yeah,
really.
so true. That was one where the enhancements were actually great rather than just adding rivets.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was fantastic what they did with that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just such a shame that they just didn't go back later and do Duncan once he was rebuilt.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame that they, besides the movie Blue Mountain Mystery, that these beautiful engines were never utilized again, really.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're just background engines. It's like they're way too detailed just to be, you know, stupid background characters. Like, I'm surprised that they haven't actually, like, taken any of the Skarloey Railway characters, scaled them up, and then recolored them to be characters in Big World, Big Adventures. Like,
Give them any ideas.
Well, there's Tomica.
Yeah, who's the scariest scaled up.
Like,
Oh.
No,
there's narrow gauge tracks in Australia, but they scaled her up to be Thomas's size.
Was there just like a miscommunication? Like the people working on the engine versus the layout, like didn't have any idea what the other one was doing, and then they get there and they're like, "Oh crap!"
I think that might have been what happened. It's just Tomica is a Duncan, with
Yeah.
like a coach
Yeah.
built in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were certainly reusing previously made assets there.
Yeah, but I mean, the announcements, they look like they're good. The rolling stock is okay, I guess. I mean, it's not the best. I think the cargo will be cool, but I don't know if it's really worth paying that much to get each different one. But I mean, some people love it, so.
So my creative process is I listen to music a lot, and I just go for like a long walk, and sometimes like certain parts of the music inspire a scene of a story.
Oh, really?
And sometimes I come up with like a quote of the episode, like I think of a funny line or a line that intrigues me, and it kind of the story gets written around that.
Mm-hmm.
I try to like write a bunch of things and like work on them over time. It's rare that it's like break my stride where I like write most of it and it all is like there. But it's it's usually always inspired by music.
Nice. I mean, for my process, it's just kind of whenever inspiration strikes. So I always like make sure that I can like quickly write down something when I get the idea. It's always fun to see too. Like, I mean, I'll get the idea and I'll like write out huge long paragraphs on like how I want the story to go.
So it's better to do dot points than doing that.
Yeah, we'll see. So like sometimes I'll do that, but like it just depends on like how much of it like I roll with it at one time. Because like once the ball gets going, like I just can keep going with it at times. And so yeah, and then it makes it easier because like there's some stories where like I had the idea and I like wrote it all out, and then I go back and look at it, and it's like all I have to do is basically write the dialogue for it. Like the story is pretty much there in its entirety. So
Something that's helped me recently is
Matt, look, you got to stay at 93 subscribers. Okay, subscribers.
you got to get a screenshot of it at least.
I'm so upset. I wanted to like watch it to see when it was at exactly 93K, but I missed it. But thank you everyone for the congrats. I want that silver play button, but the 93K. That's real nice. That's just a nice milestone for me. That's awesome.
Won't be long before you're there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how Billy and Nia crashing into the abyss do.
So the best way to recruit voice actors is to make a good series that people want to voice act in. I think that too many people, and I've spoken about this on Twitter before, they decide that they want to make a series. They've never made a video before. They haven't even written anything. And the first thing that they're thinking about is who's going to voice act in my series. Mm-hmm. And they're messaging, they're messaging me, they're messaging other people. They're saying, oh, do you want to voice act? You may audition to voice act in my series. This is not the right way to go about it. To begin with, you just want to be the only voice actor. You want to do Thomas and Friends in the way that it was done originally, narrate it as it was done originally. And if you make a good series, you impress people, they like what you're doing, you will have people asking you if they can voice act in your series. And that's absolutely the way I recommend doing it. And when you do get to that stage, the other thing is, if people are contributing stuff to your production and they're doing it for free, and that's fine, and I encourage collaboration, but you do have to be respectful of their time. And, you know, I've recorded stuff for people before, including really talented people. And, you know, you take the time to do that and then nothing comes of it. Like it either doesn't happen at all or it gets canceled. And in that case, you know, what you need to do is you need to record temp dialogue, unless you're doing something like lip sync, and then you need the actual dialogue, but you need temp dialogue. You need to edit everything, you know, or at least all of the video, and all of the video should be basically done. And then you can send out the script to the voice actors, you know, when you know that, you know, this has been filmed, this is going to happen, because all I need to do is the audio and, you know, maybe some visual effects. And, you know, if you do it that way, you know, you'll have people want to voice act in your series, and they'll want to keep voice acting in your series. Because they know that you're not going to, you know, waste their time doing stuff that's just never going to happen.
I've recorded for so many things that have been canceled. I recorded the narration for an entire Calling All Engines redub that got canceled.
Wow.
So if I'm a little more, if I grill you a little bit more about how committed you are to your project, it's just because I've been burned a few times with things like that.
If you have like maybe a speech impediment or something where maybe you can't start out doing your own thing, I think what you should do is do everything else that you can on your own, and then make sure you give a good proposal to someone. Like if you're going to ask Matt to do all the voice for your series, like make sure it's like, here, it's all filmed, show him what you've done, where it's at. And like, I mean, that way it's not like he's wasting his time on things that,
Like also, if you cast before you start, at least have the script done. Because if you can show them the script, that will at least show the person that you have the complete idea of what
the
you're
script isn't enough. The script isn't enough. Anyone can write. Anyone can write words in a Word document, but actually filming something is more than that. You have to have the filming done. Like that's just the bare minimum, and it has to be edited too, right? It has to be edited because, you know, even then, like I've received scripts. I've seen stuff where a lot of the stuff was filmed, but it wasn't all filmed and it wasn't edited. You know, and it's
I cast Matt as Stanley in a canceled movie.
So, you know, it's just a matter of being, you know, respectful to your peers, and, you know, it's a matter of not getting ahead of yourself. You know, if it's absolutely great that people collaborate and that they make productions, and, you know, lots of people love to voice act, but can't necessarily, you know, make their own videos. And so it's great that people voice act in different things, but, you know, you just got to do it the right way. You've got to, you know, get everything filmed and edited first with your own temp voices, and then you get your voice actors in. You know,
I think too many people, maybe that they're, especially when they're starting out, that maybe the, like, not nervousness, but like the fact that it's hard for them to navigate in unfamiliar territory. And so it's like, that's the easiest thing for them to do is like, oh, I'll reach out to others. And then that way, like, and so I think, but that's the backwards way you should technically do it, because you should do your own work first and then reach out to others. So.
And I mean, the other thing that you need to realize is you don't have to have voice actors.
No.
And I don't just say that just because I don't have them, but I think that, you know, it's like with a lot of things in the community. I think that the bar is a lot higher in terms of like how good the best work is than when I started, certainly, by quite a way. And I like to think that I've raised that bar myself. But
you certainly have.
But, you know, like, you don't have to have voice acting. You don't have to have animated faces or anything like that. If you've got a good story to tell, you know, and don't put hands in the video, though. You do need fishing wire. you do need fishing wire. But, yeah, if you've got a good story to tell, and, you know, it's at least, you know, the camera's in focus. The lighting is reasonable, and you can always, you know, go outside and get some beautiful sunlight in order to do that. And, you know, that's going to be enough. And that's enough to get started. And don't try and aim to do the best thing the first time. Just do, I mean, there was a...
People shouldn't put down remakes, because remakes are the best way to get to practice filming without worrying about audio or sound or any of that stuff. It's just about testing things out as a director. I see people say, "Oh, we don't need any more remakes." That is the best way for someone to practice.
And
but I will add this, is that remake something that hasn't really been remade. We don't. I don't think we need any more Thomas and Gordon. I think that's been done to death. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what Matt's saying. I would just say, if you want to stand out a little bit, pick something that hasn't been remade before. I mean, for all the Thomas episodes, I would imagine that there's quite a few that have not had at least a notable remake done.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think, I mean, my channel is a perfect example of like how having improvement by doing remakes. I think you've seen the visual quality of my work, you know, improve exponentially when I started doing remakes, and the more frequent that I was actually, you know, there in the sets, I had more ideas about how I could improve the visuals and whatnot. And so I think like it's a huge thing, but I would say pick remakes that fit where you want to go and the things you want to learn and cover, because then that's, I mean, remakes are the best practice for you, at least with in a visual filming sense. So,
I mean, and it's also simply the case that, like, you know, if you are not very experienced in filmmaking, that you have a visual reference, right?
Yeah.
And as you remake that stuff, you'll begin to learn about, you know, which shots to use and you know, how you want to try and do it that way.
And I learned so much. I mean, I filmed 2 seasons of my own series first, and then like when I got into remakes, like, and actually like studying obviously the source material in those shots and like setting things up, it like, I mean, I just learned so much, and like it improved my own style. And so like when I started filming my own original content on those same sets, like I was doing things different had I not actually done that and kind of like more in-depthly, you know, picked through the classic series. So,
and I mean, one of the things that I would say in terms of directing, I mean, if you are an established creator and you can, you know, make a decent Thomas and Friends video, if you want to push yourself a little bit more, remake something from the post-season 17 era. Right? Right. And try and, you know, do the best that you can to recreate some of the stuff that is done in CGI, which, you know, obviously
it's a lot harder, but
it's a lot harder, but it will help push you to the next level. And I mean, certainly for me, when I was working on, you know, my series, I got to a point where the visuals were not very innovative at all, and that's because when you're working with models, there's
limitations.
There's a lot of limitations, and they had them when they were doing it in the official show. But you know, if you really try, as I did, I feel throughout 2014, you can push it that little bit further.
Well, see, and that's what I like. I enjoy watching your work particularly because, like, when I see some of the shots you do and things, it's like, I mean, I can't obviously do that the same way that you can, but it's like, maybe there's a way I can do something similar to that effect. Like, you know, some of the shots you have where the camera's moving with the engines, but not like at the same speed. It's like, well, maybe there's a way I can actually set something up similar to that and maybe be a little more detailed in how I'm doing my shots and whatnot. So,
and I think that was a great thing to end on, because we got to head out very, very shortly. So, you know, thank you guys all for watching and for your questions. And, we'll try and keep you up to date with what's going on in VidCon. But I think that's it.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.